This video is brought to you by GamerSupps. Use code MHB at checkout for 10% off your next order. Now that I've finished up with the LEGO Star Wars games for some time, I hope, I can move on to the plethora of other Star Wars games out there. And this year, I wanted to focus on the games from the PS3. I have so many PS3 games I need to platinum, and I want to make a dent in that this year. So I've picked 3 games that we'll cover over the next few weeks, starting with a game that for a long time I considered my absolute favorite Star Wars game, full stop. The Force Unleashed. Back in 2008, this game blew my 11-year-old mind. I mean, I'd played a lot of Star Wars games up to that point, but The Force Unleashed was something completely new. A brand new Star Wars story, playing as a secret Sith apprentice, and the amount of power you felt is something that always stuck with me. I revisited the game back in 2022 when I started this yearly Star Wars tradition, and while it didn't exactly live up to my nostalgia, it was still a blast to play. So I thought it was about time I attempt the Platinum Trophy for what I still think is a top tier Star Wars experience. Unfortunately, this wasn't as fun as I thought it would be. As always, if you do end up enjoying the content, be sure to like the video, comment below some more platinums you'd like to see me tackle next, and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. The Force Unleashed Platinum is something that can be broken up into 2 main steps because you need to play through the game twice to get both the good and bad ending. Well, you don't need to, as I learn later in the video, but the game intends for you to play the game twice. Now there's one trophy in here that I'd call a Platinum Stopper, something that could very easily get people to stop playing the game or abandon the Platinum entirely. That trophy is Sith Master for beating the game on the hardest difficulty. I'll touch on this more as we go along, but in short, this difficulty is flat out broken and completely ruins the game in my opinion. Not to mention, it's not even unlocked from the start. You're supposed to beat the game first to unlock it, which is why many recommend playing on Sith Lord, the second highest difficulty, to prepare yourself. I've said this before and I'll say it again here, I hate this system. Just have all the difficulties available from the start, especially if you're going to force me to play a specific one for the Platinum. However, luckily for me, there is a workaround. If you start a new game, input the code SithSpawn, exit and start a new game, Sith Master is unlocked from the start. So that's exactly what I did because I'd much rather get the hardest difficulty over with and eliminate a needless playthrough as opposed to playing on hard to then reward myself with an even worse, very hard mode. I didn't input any other codes, but I will happily admit I was tempted because again, this just isn't a well-balanced difficulty. But we'll get more into that as we go. For this main playthrough, beating the game was my only conscious objective. I wasn't concerned with the combat trophies or collectibles, I just wanted to try and beat the game because all that other stuff was going to be much easier during step 2. So let's get this started with the prologue. Thankfully, being the tutorial and me not being that one games journalist, Sith Master is basically a non-factor here, especially as we roam around with an all-powerful Vader at our disposal. We storm through Kashyyyk, grabbing 3 trophies in the process for killing 12 stormtroopers as Vader, and getting a frenzy bonus of ×4 and ×8, which I think just means to kill 4 and 8 enemies really quickly, but it's hard to tell with the classic PS3 trophy delay. There we go, worst day shift manager ever. Frenzy! Hey, Sith Frenzy, nice. This leads us to our first boss fight against a rogue Jedi, which either you can't die or I only just scraped by. Either way, the prologue was done and it's here Vader meets and saves our true protagonist, Starkiller, to make him his secret apprentice. Invasion. That's the prologue done. The story resumes years later. Starkiller is now a big boy and Vader sends us off to hunt down some Jedi, starting with General Coda. This is where Sith Master really smacks you in the face because right from the very start you realize just how flimsy you really are. You barely have any powers, your health gets obliterated by a few stray lasers, and in most encounters you'll be relying more on your ability to keep at a distance rather than attacking the enemy head on. Genuinely your best friend in the beginning and really most of the game for the standard encounters is Force Grip to either fling enemies into the abyss or throw things at any enemies you can't fling around from a safe distance. You may as well forget your lightsaber even exists. Case in point, the trophies we earned in the first level were for things like defeating 100 enemies with force push and force grip, as well as pretty early into the level getting a force point score of over 250,000 points. These are basically experience points for the level which carry over despite dying. Hey, skilled. I don't feel skilled very now. Oh my god, that was dumb. I don't feel very skilled. Jesus, this game's melted my brain. Pushed. I'm assuming that's for 100 enemies. Gripped. This all led us to our battle with General Coda, who can definitely be a tough customer, but in terms of the bosses, this one really wasn't too much trouble. Especially in Phase 2, when you can get him stun locked on the heated floor for tons of damage. Insurrection. So that was one Jedi taken care of, and all in all, not too bad a level once I realized how carefully I'd have to approach each encounter on this difficulty. This sort of lulled me into a false sense of confidence, however, as I had no idea how much worse it was going to get. Our next target was Kazdan Paratus, and this whole area, not to mention the boss fight, seriously made me consider throwing in the towel. I had so many moments throughout this hellhole where I just thought, I can't do this. What the f is wrong with this game? How am I dying in some of these spots, man? When have you ever done, one, those attacks, and two, back to back to back force push, you prick? Oh, I can't have this. I know this is a tough fight. I remember getting easier. I can't have every level take me 4 hours. For reference, it took me 12 hours to beat the game. Over 3 of those hours was this level. See, one thing about Sith Master is the beginning is by far the hardest part. Once you start getting more abilities, getting more upgrades, more combos, and just in general learning how the game wants you to play, it all becomes more doable. Not easier, and there's still plenty of rage to come, but I mean this wholeheartedly. If you can beat Kazdan Paratus and Raxus Prime, you can beat the whole game. With that being said, this mission just goes to point out how insanely broken this game is and why this difficulty is just absolute BS. Flat out, this game doesn't play well enough to have this insane sort of difficulty. Here's the secret to beating every enemy encounter. Hide and throw things, or just stun lock your enemies until dead. You cannot win without one or the other, and that is the antithesis of what makes this game great. But it's what you have to do because the game is so punishing if you fail. You've got shoddy checkpoints, oftentimes making you replay large and tough sections. You have a terrible lock-on or targeting system that in tough, intense moments, like, I don't know, boss fights will have you hitting everything but the enemy, not to mention just downright inconsistent damage. Sometimes an attack will one-shot you, other times it's just a scratch. Makes no damn sense. Also, the game is just unstable. I had to reset my game numerous times because either I or an important enemy fell through the world, which on this difficulty with the issues I just touched on is insufferable. Before I move on too far though, we did get a trophy for taking out 25 Jawas. Hey, bully. Great game. Yeah, that's what I thought. The old Jawa trophy. These inconsistencies in the levels means the way you have to play is to exploit the brokenness, and Kazdan is the perfect example of that. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail in terms of the levels. I'll show some of the funny rage moments, but if you're stuck and thinking, how do I do this? It's a combination of luck, having somewhere to hide, and being able to attack from a safe distance. I will, however, give some tips on how I personally got past each of the bosses, because these are long battles with little windows for screwing up. Kazdan Paratus being a prime example. He's super quick, has the ability, though inconsistently, to one-shot you, and like most bosses, doesn't really have a tell for anything he's going to do besides his leap into the arena. So what's the strategy? Lightning, grip, fling him into an object. Don't throw him out the arena, it does no damage. This is Kasdan's stunlock strategy, which is your goal for each boss fight. You stunlock them so they can't stunlock you. If he blocks your lightning, immediately block back because a force push is coming your way. For the Junk Titans, just lightning, hit twice, get out the way. For Kasdan, you can also try getting a hit or two in when stunned, but it's best just to keep your distance. This is all easier said than done, again with inconsistent damage and physics, but it's the most consistent way I found of actually winning the fight. I did it!
Sorry, masters.
Junkyard. Holy crap. What a... How do you make a fight that broken? That's 2 Jedi down, 1 more to go, and now it was time to hunt down Shakti. Not much to report on Felucia. Most of the fights you can skip if they're giving you too much grief, but I did get another trophy for killing 100 enemies with Force Lightning, which is a given on this difficulty. Hey, shocked, let's go. Shakti though is that same formula. Find a way to stunlock her. Best way to do so is by using Force Repulse and following up with some lightsaber combos to hopefully keep her down for longer. She can't really one-shot you, so this fight is a lot easier to learn than Kasdan, but she does summon enemies to help her, which are both a pain and a blessing, because they'll do decent damage against you if you let them, but they are quick to take out and drop some much needed health. Same strategy for phase 2, except now the Sarlacc pit can one-shot you, but overall just repulse and follow through and you'll get her eventually. Jedi Hunt. It's after this point Vader betrays us in front of the Emperor, saves us, and now our mission is essentially to start the rebellion. And yes, Vader is still saying, we'll get the Emperor next time, I promise. So we break out of our cell, struggle with the damn Purge Troopers, free our lovely pilot Juno. Oh, that was it. Empirical. Fly out to Cloud City to recruit a now blinded General Coda, get a trophy for killing our 150th Stormtrooper. Cannon fodder, let's go. Alright, that's 150 Stormtroopers, I remember that one. Vapor Room. Look at that, making some good progress for once. Less than an hour and I've done 2 levels. And head off to Kashyyyk to rescue Princess Leia and save the Wookiees from the Empire. As always, this level has its fair share of frustrating moments. Are you kidding me? Ugh, God, this game is broken, man. I cannot wait to be done with Sith Master. Go down to easy, do my good playthrough, and just have fun. Because this is miserable. Oh, cool. The pro of this game is making you feel so unbelievably powerful. This is why I hate force difficulty trophies, because I've never played on Sith Master before. I would recommend no one, unless you are going for this platinum, which I don't even know if I would recommend. I would recommend 0 people play on this difficulty, because it's so... Even when you win, you don't... It's not like, oh yeah, that was really awesome. It's like... you have to play like the biggest bitch. But the boss against Ozek Stern is the easiest so far, as long as you don't pull out any of the pins before taking out the other enemies around the Skyhook. No easy task, actually unlocking the trophies for getting 500 and 600,000 force points in a level in the process. Experts. Legend. Alright, that's for 600,000. But it's well worth the effort, because then it gives us a chance to hide and throw things at Stern's ATST until dead. I pulled it off. Kashyyyk in like 1 recording. It took me an hour and like 20 minutes. Skyhook. With Princess Leia now on our side, we headed back to Felucia to rescue Senator Bail Organa, who went looking for Shakti to help him find Leia, but obviously we know she's long gone, and he's been captured by her apprentice, Maris Brood. Maris's first stage isn't actually against her really at all. It's against a Bull Rancor, with the strat being to wait for it to rush you, dash to a side and get some damage off, but Maris appears randomly throughout to make it a lot more annoying than it sounds. When When she appears, back off the Rancor, and if you're lucky, when the beast comes to attack you, he'll stun lock her to the ground instead. As for the actual Maris fight, lots of lightning. Whether it's force lightning or lightning lightsaber combos, just don't stop attacking is the play here, and she'll go down pretty easily. Infestation. Alright, 2 more levels. And the hell is over. But now we have all our resistance leaders, it was time to send the Emperor a message, and back at Raxus Prime is the perfect place to do that. This is where they're making Star Destroyers, so what better way to send a message than pull one right out of the damn sky. On the way to the Star Destroyer, we killed our 500th Imperial enemy. Rebel leader, let's go. Destroyed 35 droids. Proxy won't be happy. There we go, there's the droid 1. And came face to face with our buddy Proxy, ready to finally kill us. Now most of this fight is pretty easy, as it's all enemies and bosses we know how to take care of, and the same strategies apply. However, his final form is Darth Maul, and this is where the fight gets really, well, I'd say tricky, but it's all luck. It's once again time to rely on Force Repulse and Lightsaber Lightning combinations, and just hope you can stun lock him for long enough, because if he catches you, he'll one-shot you no problem. With Darth Maul, or Proxy, taken care of, it's time to pull down a damn Star Destroyer, which has to be the most iconic moment in the whole game, and it's still absolutely badass. If you're struggling, it should be obvious by now, but Force Lightning fully upgraded is a top priority and makes this all a lot easier. With the TIE Fighters, sit behind this post and jump up and lightning them as they pass, pull down the Star Destroyer until more TIE Fighters get too close, rinse and repeat. Destroyer. Alright, we have 1 more level to go, and this nightmare is over. We now have the Emperor's attention, but of course, this is the point where Vader betrays us, captures all our friends, and now it's time to head to the Death Star to end this nightmare. Now this level can be really tricky, but as long as you pick off enemies one by one and not as a group, most of this level isn't too bad. I mean, finding out how exactly to do that can be tricky. Personally, for the first section, I hid in elevators, and against the Shadow Guards at the end, really just hoped and relied on the nearby health draining aura to do the heavy lifting. I did grab the trophies for 100 Force Repulse kills and 500 Force Lightning kills along the way. Hey, Repulse, nice. So that's 100 Repulse kills. Oh, Force Lightning Master, I think I just caught it at the end there. I did not expect, I was like, I won't start the recording again until I get to like the final fight. But now was time for our final fight, and yes, for this playthrough, as much as it pains me, we have to go against Vader in all 3 phases for the bad ending. It's just so much easier than the Emperor's fight. Phase 1, block and wait for a force push attack. Go behind him and hit away, stunning him if you're lucky, rinse and repeat. Phase 2, throw everything at him in the arena until he makes you fight one-on-one, then do the same as Phase 1. Phase 3 is a little trickier as his window of being vulnerable is much smaller, but it's basically the same plan, throwing in the Force Slam combo to get some good damage off. And just like that, our time with Sith Master was finally over. Oh my god, have I actually managed to do it? Revenge. Alright, that's for the dark side ending. Sith Master, let's go. Hardest difficulty done. Sith Lord, obviously the difficulty stacks. Apprentice. There we go. Sith Warrior, I think that's it. That is the hardest trophy I've ever gone for. No joke. That was miserable. Now that our nightmare was finally over, the rest of the trophies were going to be light work. Tedious, but still a much better time than whatever the hell that was. First things first, it was time to bump the game down to Apprentice difficulty and use the mission select for 2 things. 1, replay the final level, but this time face the Emperor and get the good ending, which actually also got us the trophy for killing our 10th ATST. Harder they fall, okay, that's for the 10 ATSTs. Redemption, it does count. And 2, replay every level to grab any of the Jedi holocrons I missed the first time through. Which, if I knew I could just replay the final level for both endings, I would have made sure to grab each holocron as I went. Regardless, this part was great fun because this is the feeling I was talking about. Now, I don't need it to be as easy as this with no threat of death, but at least I can live out an all-powerful Force user without the constant threat of getting two-shotted. This was a much better time and upped my mood significantly towards this game, which I'm happy about because I don't want to hate this game. But Sith Master again really exposes how broken it is. Anyway, along this holocron hunting journey, I nabbed a few other trophies for completing all the bonus objectives in a level, the first being the easiest to do so. Corellian Star, that's for doing all the optional objectives in a level. Defeated 100 enemies with a grapple move and a lightsaber throw. Grappled, let's go. Impaled, there we go, that's 100 lightsaber throw kills. Defeated 6 Rancor. Yes, the bigger they are, there we go. And after the final holocron, went into the training room to complete both the tutorials and the combat modules. There we go, holocron collector. Sith training, now we've got the combat modules, which I thought would give me flashbacks to God of War, but because you can change the difficulty, these are no problem. Let's go, Sith trials. I was afraid this was going to be like a God of War situation, but yeah, these were, when you can change the difficulty on them, yeah, these are easy. But after all that, the only trophies remaining were the rest of the kill trophies. Not much to report here. I bounced between the first fight and the TIE factory level and the infinite Wookiee spawn on Kashyyyk to grab all of these, and yes, it was incredibly tedious. But with some persistence, I managed to grab the trophies for Frenzy times 12. There we go, Sith Lord Frenzy. 100 aerial ambush kills. Launched. Let's go. I'm hoping that's for the aerial combos. 100 and 500 lightning shield kills. There we go. Stormed. So that's 100. Lightning shield mastery. Let's freaking go. I'm sick of replaying this level. Defeated 200 Wookiees in the prologue. Boshk. 500 lightsaber throws, force pushes, force grips, and finally, to earn the platinum trophy, 500 force repulses. And that was our time with Star Wars The Force Unleashed done. Well, for now at least. We'll be back for the DLCs soon. Yes, lightsaber throw master. Finally, man. Been doing this for ages. Force push mastery. Yay. Force grip master. Yes, force repulse mastery. Butchered that one. 100% complete. The nightmare is over. Holy crap. What a miserable experience this was, sadly. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far into the video, make sure to leave a comment with "Bring Back Starkiller" to let me know that you made it to the end. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below and let me know some more platinums you'd like to see me tackle next. Shout out to the channel members for that extra level of support, and special thanks to members of the Bear Club: J&T Papi, Nugget, Darkwolf, Scott Unwin, Steel Vanguard, NPO Crusader, Lug Knights, It's Grey J, Kuzma, Pathcast, Zafado, and Golden Sparrow. Thank you all, and I'll catch you in the next one.